Guys, coming at you with another Path of Exile video. Back at it, getting ready for the new Ritual League, and I think I've come up with a pretty interesting build concept, at least, that I want to show you today. And part of the reason why I think this is interesting, it's a Deadeye Ice Spear Frostbolt character, is that we're going to be using the new reworked Deadeye tree here. And it's exciting for me because even though we're using this Deadeye Ascendancy, we don't really get any straight up damage from it, and it isn't really meant to be used with spells like we're going to be using it. So I have no idea how this is going to work. There's also a mechanic involved that I'm not sure is even going to work with the build. That's kind of build defining, but we're going to see how it goes. I'm planning to do this as my league starter. And this is what it's all about. So the main idea is that Frostbolt will be used as sort of like a clear skill. I'm using a Pledge of Hands as well as Chest, so both can ideally be 5 or 6 linked. Ice Spear is going to be the single target. Frostbolt is going to be the clear. Frostbolt ends up working out to be around 300k damage, and the way I have this configured is that this is Cirrus damage, so Frostbolt on trash would be like 500k. I do have Lucky Crit and Gale Force up, but no Frenzy charges, anything else. I don't have Dying Sun turned on, and I'm missing a lot of gear slots. A lot of the other ones just have plus life, and this unique gear is nothing too fancy at all. So this is like conservative 500k, easy clear on Frostbolt, plus we have Herald of Ice, which should make it really smooth. That combined with the Gathering Winds and the Gale Force is basically going to make us go really fast. So part of the reason why this build is so exciting is that we're going to be able to go super fast, and that's going to help with your Frostbolt clear, Herald of Ice. You're basically going to be able to zoom through maps, which is going to feel really good. And the thing about the Ritual League and the new Echoes of the Atlas, like overall expansion, is that you kind of have to make a build that's balanced between being able to clear, because that's how you're going to do all your progression, make money, level up, etc. But also bosses are going to be a focus for the next several leagues, because the entire Atlas mechanics revolve a lot more around boss fights, with the main concept being like simultaneous one boss all the way up to 10. You're going to have pretty strong single target. So speed is going to help with everything, but most notably it's going to help you like clear the maps really fast. And then the other thing that I'm really excited about that I'm not even sure is going to work, let me move this over, is this node. So in the past, I guess before I get to this, in the past I've thought about making Ice Spear builds with Deadeye before, because Deadeye has always kind of been calling out to be used with spells because it has this projectile speed and damage. Only a few nodes are specifically tied to attack. But before it wasn't quite as strong with only the one projectile, but with 2 projectiles now, that's really going to buff Ice Spear, and it also helps our Frostbolt. So Frostbolt's going to clear even better. But so anyways, on to why this is good for Ice Spear. So Ice Spear benefits from your 2 projectiles here. And now this node. So one thing I want to make as clear as possible is that Far Shot, if you can read it there, only applies to attack. So we do not get any benefit from Far Shot, which is why this is getting into hipster territory. Far Shot only applies to attacks, which is unfortunate because we're missing out on up to a 60% more damage multiplier. But I still think this node is pretty good. Number one, because the other ones to get to the +2 projectiles don't really give us anything. But mainly what I'm excited about is that second modifier, projectile barrages have no spread. Now, I'm not sure if this applies to Ice Spear, but I think it should. And the reason why this is so interesting is because we're using Ice Spear as single target. That's going to make it so that if you've ever seen a video of Ice Spear, and maybe I can find one real quick. If you've ever seen a video of Ice Spear, it has really big sort Sure, we'll take a look at Mathel.
Hey guys, it's Mathel here once again with a
really big spreads. You can see like the ice spears are shooting out at a really wide angle. So if you single target, at least half, maybe even more of the projectiles are going to miss. But if these end up benefiting from that node that gives no spread, you're going to be able to hit every single projectile, which is going to give you huge damage. So I think that covers the main reason why I'm excited. The tree itself, I'll just go over quickly, relatively simple. You just get a lot of life. Frenzy charges, this will be absolutely last. Just ignore this on the tree for the most part for when you get to end game and you can get frenzy charge on hit from your chest. But then you get a bunch of crit. I pick up eventually Leech from a Cluster Jewel, but the cool thing about this build is that I think it will do pretty good for leveling, because before you get like Pledge of Hands, which I don't know if you saw when I opened my webpage earlier, but shouldn't be terribly expensive, maybe like 2x, hopefully not more than that. But before this, you can use like Doriani's Catalyst, stuff like that to get your Leech. The rest of these uniques like Fractal Thoughts is trash. Eventually this will be replaced by a enchantment from the lab helmet, probably like generic evasion, but has plus another projectile, the Ice Spear. These boots can eventually be replaced with better boots that give you elusive on crit. This chest, like I said, will eventually be a influence one that has frenzy, and the rest like eventually get Dying Sun too, but the rest is just Cluster Jewels with life, Frozen Trail for Frostbolt, maybe another one of those, and then like life gear. And there's some other endgame stuff like Amulet you can get plus gems, etc. Other influence stuff you can get, but it's mostly going to be like rares. What else? Oh yeah, so the tree is pretty simple, just crit, get a little bit of mana and damage here, and life. And so one thing that I haven't covered yet that I really like about this build, particularly as a league starter, is that because we can end up getting with our damage on Ice Spear up to like 2.5 mil, and what is this? 2.5 mil without a boss, but with a boss. And again, this is without a lot of, you know, added projectiles from helmet, without a lot of my flash turned on. Like before you get to far end game, you still get like you know, a reasonable 1.5 mil shaper DPS. And because of that, we can focus a lot more on defense. So I'm trying to get life, trying to get a lot of life. And you can see I haven't filled in all my items. The rest of this is pretty mediocre rolls. So you should be able to get at least 5k, maybe 5.5k life. And now the final benefit of the Deadeye Ascendancy is that with all that life, 5k is usually, you know, pretty good to survive most one-shots, especially because we're going dodge and we get pretty good evasion, like 50%, 45. Now combine that with this node, Wind Ward, 3% less damage taken per Gale Force. This is going to help a ton with survivability because we have a decent life pool and we don't get hit a lot, but when we do, we're going to be able to ensure that we don't get one-shot, because all our comfortable life pool is basically going to get another like 30% effective health from taking less damage. So because we don't get hit very often, the small hits we can just kill whatever's doing a small hit, and big hits we also get decent leech. We just survive the big hits, do enough attacks super quickly with Ice Spear and this insane Tailwind attack speed to get all the Gale Forces right back up, and you just become super tanky that way. So this build seems like it has everything. As seemingly clunky as it is, it has good defense, fast clear speed, good single target damage, and it has a clear way to ramp up with relatively cheap starter items here. The last thing I'll cover quickly are the links. There's nothing special here. Frost Bomb for exposure, Frostbite. Eventually you can get this or LA weakness on like gloves or a ring or something like that. Frost Bomb will just be for single target. If I turn this off, it's, you know, it's giving like 25% damage, but still decent damage, at least 1 million here. You should have this up though, and on Frostbolt, it's easily still going to be enough. This is still serious damage. It's easily going to be enough to clear trash. So yeah, the links are going to be Ice Spear, GMP, Arcane Surge, Spell Echo, Cold Pen, and I do have Awakened cold damage here. So yeah, I guess this sort of simulates what you could corrupt your gem up. It's easy because quality doesn't really matter, and then this is sort of simulating an extra level from Amulet, or you could just get this gem. But the point still stands. There's a lot of room to improve, even though I've kind of cheated. Oh shoot, it's really small. How do I zoom in? Oh well. I'll link the path of building in the description. You'll see. It's fine. It's fine. All these links are really simple. The main idea is that you just spam attacks like crazy. You basically have a machine gun with Ice Spear because you have Pledge of Hands and GMP on Ice Spear. And I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm basically just going to cut it short there. Let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, am probably going to do this as my league starter unless the Ice Spear spread mechanic from Deadeye doesn't work. Then I might switch it up. But please, if you're interested or have any questions, come through, check out my Twitch channel. And otherwise, have a good day, guys. I will catch you later.